Yeah, this game was great. I'm really glad I finally took the step towards playing this game. Alright, let's talk about the pros and cons to Child of Light. Now, the three key pros that I found with this game, the first one is, similar to the last game I played last week, is that this game is short. This game only took me about a little over 11 hours. Now, for an average player who's taking their time doing all the side quests and whatnot, it could take you around 15 hours. When looking at that, that's still very short and very easy to play. It doesn't take that much work to go out of your way to play this game. If you're like, I kind of want to experience this art style, this rhyming that's throughout this game, which is interesting. Yeah, no, it's not that hard of a commitment. You can literally just wreck this game in a weekend. Probably something fun to do with kids if you have kids. I don't have kids, so I can't do that. The second pro to this game is its combat. And its combat is done in a way to where if you are really smart and you really strategize and know what you're doing, it can be really rewarding the gameplay. Just through defeating enemies and doing what you need to do, of staying on top of the timeline that happens within the combat and be able to set your enemies back, or be able to guard very well and be able to have like a continuous loop of just dealing damage. Like, it's very satisfying if you know what you're doing and you put in that effort to just get good. Now, the third pro is, I already kind of spoiled it and mentioned it, but since the game is within a setting of telling a narrative, a bedtime story almost, to a child, this works really well with kids. I think this would be a great game to play with kids. Because as an RPG, it's hard to say, hey, little child, play this game. I wouldn't say that much, but if you're a parent and you want to play a game with your child, this is such a great way. And it has a second player function to where you can control the little firefly sprite thing. That's a really easy way to get a kid to play also and really have them be engaging. Especially since it's not just a simple little cursor mover thing where all you do is pick up items and that's it. You do have a little bit more functionality to it, which is I love to see. I love to see it. But on top of this, there's no sexual humor, there's no coarse humor, no foul language. The only possible problem is some of the creatures may be a little bit too scary, but none of them seem too bad to me. As long as you're right there with them, you can help counsel them in case it is too bad and be able to be like, oh, okay, yeah, we're shutting this down type deal. Now, the three cons that I found aren't too bad, but they're there. The very first con is because of the combat. The combat can be a little bit too easy. Now, there's two different difficulties. There's casual and then normal. So there's that in case it is a little bit too easy for you. You can do the more challenging one for the combat sense. But again, if you're like me and you got really good at the strategy of how to play things and how things work, and it can be a bit easy. The second con is one of the mechanics is it has a little crafting system in it. And while it's not bad, it's a little bit tedious and it doesn't do that much for you to where it's like, it's a little bit of a nuisance. And the last one is the game's rhyming. While it does set it apart, it does get a little bit annoying. It's a little bit annoying and it's a little bit confusing. It makes you have to focus a little bit more to register the game story and what people are saying. Even though it's a con, I would say it's worth it. It's worth it because one, it sets it apart and makes a really unique experience compared to any other game. It also fits really well with the game's narrative and the game as a whole to where I think it's worth it. Like, if I could change it, I wouldn't change it. It's not worth it. It's not worth it. But that's it for today. I hope you guys liked this. Congratulations to me. I'm married. Woo! Woo! Hit a like for that. I need it. Look forward to next week's video. Hopefully I should be able to be on top and be able to get it out. I'll be coming back from my honeymoon, so hopefully I can get it out to you. Worst case scenario, we might have to take a week off, but I'm gonna do my best to be able to stay on top of it. But thank you for all watching. The one that probably stands out the most and the one that stood out the most to me is Earthbound. It's so much like Earthbound. If you don't know what Earthbound is, you're missing out.